This is the new baseline iPad. Apple just wrapped up its iPad event and we got the new iPad Air and the iPad Pro. But we also saw the discontinuation of the 9th generation iPad and a massive price cut on this 10th generation iPad. So now, officially, this is the cheapest iPad to enter the iPad lineup. This will cost you around 35,000 Indian rupees or 349 US dollars, which is still $20 more expensive than the previous 329 price tag. But hey, this one has this all-screen display and USB Type-C for the very first time, so now this kind of justifies its price tag. Talking about the display, I don't know why, but Apple is just so stubborn with the display strategy. If you pick an Android tablet at this price point, you might get an OLED display or a 120Hz panel or maybe both. But of course, this is Apple and they just don't follow any trends. So this iPad has a 10.9-inch 60Hz IPS LCD panel. And I cannot really blame this iPad to have this kind of a display setup, because even the iPad Air, which is way more expensive than this lineup of iPad, also has a 60Hz IPS LCD panel. So yeah, the 120Hz panels are only reserved for the Pro Apple products. So the iPad Pro has a 120Hz panel, the iPhone Pro also has a 120Hz panel, and so does the MacBook Pro. So I think Apple thinks that 120Hz panels are only for the Pro users. And OLED, the latest iPad Pro just got the OLED display, so you can expect Apple to put OLED displays on this lineup by 2030. Okay, but coming back to this panel, it's a nice LCD panel. Apple does not really cut on the quality of their panels. It's just the advanced technologies that are missing here. I have used this iPad for about a month and I had no problems with the display. It's bright enough to use indoors and I got used to that 60Hz after using it for a while. It's not something that will stop you from buying an iPad if you really want to buy an iPad. It's not anti-reflective like other iPads, so expect to have a lot of reflections, especially while using it in dark mode, but the display is fine. It's sharp and easily a very good LCD panel. You also get this new form factor which does not have a home button, so it's all gestures now, and it really feels like a modern iPad design following the rest of the iPad lineup. The size is really comfortable to hold, I feel. It's not that big to get uncomfortable and just about the right size to enjoy the media content too. The build quality is all aluminum and the colors are really nice, but an iPad is always going to stay inside a case, so looks doesn't really matter that much here. You can't use an iPad without a case because you need something that can hold the iPad when you are watching a movie or a TV show. Speaking about another thing that follows the rest of the iPad lineup is USB Type-C, the first time in the baseline iPad. That means you can charge it with any USB-C charger at your house, don't have to scramble for that lightning port anymore. And if you wish to buy an Apple Pencil, it also comes with the USB-C port now for charging. But do note that the regular Apple Pencils won't work on this iPad because they are just not supported here. Only the first gen Apple Pencil and USB-C Apple Pencil are supported here, and they cannot snap on the top of the iPad. You will have to charge them via the iPad's Type-C port. Now you might think moving to this new form factor without the home button might replace the Touch ID with the Face ID. Then you are wrong. The Touch ID is now embedded into this power button, just like I always wanted on an iPhone, but they never implemented it. Now both Touch ID and Face ID has its advantages and disadvantages, and in an ideal world I would like to have both of them. I think on an iPad the Touch ID is a bit inconvenient because with this design you never know in which orientation you are gonna pick up the iPad, and depending on that position the Touch ID keeps changing. So you always have to locate the Touch ID's position, which makes the unlocking experience worse. And even after the iPad is unlocked, you have to rest your finger for a while to unlock the iPad, which I find really annoying, and there's just no way I can turn it off. So I don't really like the biometric situation on this tablet. And same goes for the volume buttons as well. It keeps on changing which one is for volume up or volume down depending on the orientation of your iPad, which I find really annoying. I'm constantly pressing the wrong button for volume up or volume down. But again, all these things goes for the iPad Air as well, so can't really blame just this iPad. Speaking about the volume buttons, the actual volume on this tablet, it's okay, it's alright, but it's not as loud as I would like it to. So most of the times I keep it on max volume, But that is fine, as on other devices I rarely use that max volume. But even on max volume, the quality of the sound is really good. It's not distorting or anything, so it's a good media experience. Now, to enjoy that media experience for longer periods of time, you need great battery life, and the iPad 10 definitely has that. Apple always claims a 10-hour battery life, and that is exactly true here. This one easily lasts you for 10 hours on normal uses, and that includes casual gaming, using it as a smart display to play Alexa routines, and planning a trip with lots of tabs open as well. But all that doesn't affect this iPad. This one has great battery life and it has amazing standby time as well, just like many other Apple products. I went on a trip for a week with around 25 to 30% battery left with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. everything on, and when I came back, it was still not dead. So great standby time here. It does take a bit of time to charge, like it took 30 minutes to charge 30% with a 30-watt adapter. So it's not super fast, but you can try charging it with a faster charging brick if you have one. But the good news here is you do get a charger in the box unlike the iPhone, so the people buying this iPad will definitely appreciate it. Another thing that you will appreciate here are the cameras. Now I am not focusing particularly about the picture quality, although you do get a decently good 12 megapixel cameras on both the front as well as the back. But I am talking about the center stage feature during FaceTime calls. First of all, the front camera is in the correct orientation on the bigger bezel, and with center stage, it doesn't matter how you sit in front of the iPad. As long as you are in the front, it's always gonna keep you in the frame. Plus the camera quality is definitely better than my MacBook Air M2. So it's a nice feature to have if you use FaceTime though. We just use WhatsApp for everything, which is not even available on the iPad. Now before you invest in any of these iPads, there are some quirks that I have with it and you should definitely take a note of it. Little things about the software that annoys me on the iPad are there is no glide to type on the default keyboard, so I had to install Gboard to get the feature. Really strange. Still no number row even on iPad, which is stupid. The spacing between the icons is too big, so there are actually less number of icons that can fit on a screen, and it does not use the entire screen. Look out for these blank spaces on every screen with or without widgets, landscape or portrait mode. There's just wasted spaces everywhere. The most surprising part is the left side widget page that just shows widgets in one single corner, which is like 20% of the whole display. The entire rest of the display is totally wasted. Apple should really work on their iPad OS, I believe, and as I said before, there is no WhatsApp, which is the strangest thing ever. When we talk about Apple products, we always talk about their longevity. We know people are still comfortable using their iPhone 12s and the iPhone 13s, and this is a very similar experience to that. You get an Apple A14 Bionic chip, which is 4 years old at this point, but still good enough for most people who just buys iPad for the normal stuff. I haven't noticed any significant lags or delays in doing anything. It will obviously be not as fast as the other iPads because this iPad is not for that ultra users. So for them, the performance is definitely good on this one. Even if you buy this iPad today, it's gonna easily get the software updates at least for the next 4 to 5 years. So the older chip inside it shouldn't really be a concern to buy this iPad. Just FYI, the iPad 6 released in 2018 still runs the latest iPadOS 17. So you can calculate the life of this iPad 10 yourself. So for $350, it's a great entry into the iPad lineup. In your lives, be like this iPad. Doesn't matter if the world is going berserk, just focus on doing the basic things right and your life will be a success. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.